So this is the video mentioned in class today, the little calculator challenge. If you have your histogram of how many states we created, that is what we are going to take a look at. So here is the home screen of my calculator. I went into the stat key and under edit, I have entered all of the summary data from the distribution that is there. If you have the notes printed out, it's on page 2 underneath the dot plot. So list 1 are each of the outcomes. That was the number of states. So we had a min of 18, a max of 50. And then list 2 are the frequencies for everything. So if we quit out of there just to go back to the home screen, second y equals is my stat plot. We have 3 plots. We can graph it one time. So if I hit enter to enter into here, I'm going to hit enter again to turn it on. So now it's bold around the on. Scatter plots we'll talk about later. Go to the third option and select histogram. So if I just had list 1, that would be like the raw list of data. So just each individual data point listed. If we arrow down to frequency and call up list 2. So I'm going to hit second 2 as the shortcut to list 2, but you could also go to second stat, which is your list of lists, if you ever needed anything from there. And these settings will give me a histogram very similar to the one that we created in class. If you hit zoom 9, that is zoom stat, it will likely give you a messy window, which is what this one looks like, but at least it gets us started. It frames in our values. So if you go to window to clean it up, we went from 15 to 50, and we counted off by 5s, not 4s, which is pretty nice that it didn't make the scale something as a decimal point there. Oh, sorry, it doesn't like the negative sign as the subtraction on my keyboard. If I put in a -1. And then I'm going to go to 30 just to see it, and we counted off by 5s. The scale sometimes, whenever you use zoom stat, has crazy decimal points that we would never otherwise use. I went from 15, I'm actually going to go out to 55, because like I said, the calculator does this differently than what we went to, and I'm going to hit graph next. The y-min doesn't matter so much. I like to just have like a little bit of the scale here, but if you hit trace, you'll see how this is different from what we did in class. So it's equal to but less than 20. So we have 1 there like we had before. Now we have 3 and 5. So those numbers are a little different. 15, 29, 17. And then in that last bin, again, we have a total of 8 instead. And that, again, was because of the number of 50s that we had. So just a quick peek at what we had with ours. We actually had 16 in our last bin, and we had only 7 bins total to see that skewness to the right-hand side. So this time the calculator generated for us 8 bins instead. We can still see a slight left skewness to it. So 2 things here, 2 main takeaways. First, the ability to use the calculator with that frequency list when you're creating a histogram. And second, to recognize again that the default is to the left endpoint. So it's always greater than or equal to that and less than whatever the max is, which you can see from the trace feature.